Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Pumpkin Hill Radio. I just want to let you know that our Patreon, patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio, is really shaping up over there. So if you like the content you hear on this channel, you're going to love what we got going on over there. And for our first 10 subscribers to our Patreon, it's only $1 a month to get in. That dollar buys you bonus episodes. It gets a sticker sent right to your door. You'll get shout-outs throughout the next episode of Pumpkin Hill Radio as you become the ghost co-host for that episode. All that and so much more at patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio. What the hell else are you going to do with that dollar?
The difference between us is that I can feel pain.
Sounds like a real boogeyman. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy.
There's someone else in the hotel with us. There's a crazy woman in one of the rooms.
It's got a death curse.
This isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Hello, my Nato friends, and happy Halloween to you.
Yeah, there we are.
Welcome to Pumpkin Hill Radio. I am your host, Travis Wormwood. Got my co-host, Dawson Trailer, with me. And as always, we're going to dig into some really weird, spooky stuff for you. This is going to be a Patreon exclusive, and we will eventually release it onto the main feed. So if you're coming from the main feed, what's up? Come check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio. If you're listening from the Patreon, what's up? Nice to meet you. You'll surely be getting a shout out on the show soon. Say that 5 times fast.
Let's go.
And as always, send in your stories, whatever you want us to hear, pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. Anything else, Dawson? And I also want to welcome everybody to the Cult of the Star Mother, as always. That's the that's our little boutique cult that we have here. This is going to be a nice spooky Halloween episode, and it's going to be a continuation of the Alien Wars saga that we have been building.
Let's
Last
just
episode,
get back into it.
Last episode we had to cut it early because I had to go to work, but we were still rolling on it. So picking up basically where we left off again, we had covered about 15 to 20 alien races. I wanted to get a list of them going just so we could have a nice backlog of them, get a nice appendices of them. Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like sure.
And I did have to, if you go back and listen, I'm sure some people will say that I didn't get all of them because some other aliens were considered like hybrids of 2 other ones we already named or like specific offshoots of them. So I didn't want to get too bogged down in just listing things all episode, but I covered the main ones. We covered some kind of more bizarre ones. The Blue Avians. Blue
Avians are sick.
Yeah. Shout out to Corey Good. He supplied the initial reports from 2015 to 2016 on those Blue Avian, these like blue bird-like creatures. That are extraterrestrial or ultra-dimensional in some capacity. There were some striking stories from there. There were some just bizarre stories from there that I truly do believe, but they were just bizarre. They were that highest range level that I really like to see on the show.
That shit where you're like, wait, what?
And I feel like immediately after listening to all that and like hearing all these bizarre things, we go and listen and do more research, and all of those bizarre concepts show up as little pieces of different tales. I feel like even today, me and Dawson just got off of watching a little Aliens in Antarctica, Ancient Aliens type thing on YouTube, just to kind of like hang out for a second before the show. And
talking crystal cities.
Yeah, just talking about the underground crystal cities there, the underground in general.
The Master, the different bases, like.
And who's the guy that wrote all those diaries? The one that
Admiral Byrd.
Oh, the Admiral Byrd stuff, which we should do a full episode on him sometime because it's just insane. Like
there's
this dude,
so much.
This dude,
he went to the North and South Pole.
Yeah,
and has like crazy stories about each one.
And he's decked out in like tons of military
And none of it. He didn't talk about any of it.
Experience,
He swore an oath to like not speak of it.
Yeah.
And then his like diary got found by his like grandson.
Mm-hmm. Right, and but it's just like someone at that like high level of military. It's like for them to come out with something that out there.
That's like in their diary. It's
always striking
shit.
for sure. Yeah. So that was fucking nice to see. That was just a good warm up.
Love that
now
shit.
I want to kind of briefly, or not, I don't know how long it takes to just possibly go over like the alien alliances, some of the coalitions of these things. Go back and listen to our previous episode. I think it's episode 58 if you're coming from the Patreon specifically, but it go back and listen to the basics to get the foundation, and then here we are kind of collecting some of these different aliens into collectives. So, and just the different like incidents and things that are going to go on here. I did want to cover again the Rendlesham Forest incident. Staff Sergeant John Harrison said that what they don't tell you about Rendlesham Forest is what happened to the witnesses. We covered this last episode, but just to get into it again, just to get in the same like headspace, there was 83 military personnel who saw something that night. I might even splice in like a small bit of the audio from that night from the military base, like right here.
Yeah.
Just turn the meter off. Gotta say that again. About 4 feet off the ground, about 110 degrees, getting a reading of about 4 clicks. Yes, sir. Yeah, but it's dying. No, it's not. I think it's something other than the ground. I think it's something that's something variable here. Tree right on. We just found the first night bird we've seen. We're about 150 or 200 yards from the site. Everything else is just deathly calm. There's no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. It's yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears to be maybe moving a little bit this way. It's brighter than it has been. Yellow. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird. To the left. Yeah, definitely moving to the left. Two lights. One light to the front, one light to the left. Keep the flashlights off. There's something very, very strange. Get the headset on and see if it gets any stronger. Okay. Give us your rundown. Notation that this is on a beta reading, too. It's on a beta reading? Beta still has been removed. Okay. Pieces are falling off it again. But it just moved to the right. Yeah. Off to the right. Strange. Oh, wait to the left. Let's approach to the edge of the woods up there. Can you want to do without lights? Let's do it carefully. Come on. Okay, we're looking at the thing. We're probably about 200 to 300 yards away. It looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side. And when you put the star scope on it, it sort of has a hollow center, right? Dark center. It's like a pupil of an eye looking at you and winking. And the flash is so bright to the star scope that it almost burns your eye. We passed the farmer's house and across in the next field. Now we have multiple sightings of up to 5 lights with a similar shape and all, but they seem to be steady now rather than a pulsating or glow with a red flash. We just crossed the creek, and we're getting what kind of readings now? Getting 3 good clicks on the meter, and we're seeing strange lights in the sky. 244, we're at the far side of the second farmer's field, and made sighting again about 110 degrees. This looks like it's clear out to the coast. It's right on the horizon. Moves about a bit and flashes from time to time. Still steady red encounter. Also, after negative readings in the satellite field, we're picking up slight readings, 4 or 5 clicks now on the meter. 305, we see strange strobe-like flashes to the rather sporadic, but there's definitely something, some kind of phenomenon. 305, at about 10 degrees horizon directly north, we've got 2 strange objects, half-moon shape, dancing about with colored lights on them. That gets to be about 5 to 10 miles out, maybe less. The half-moons have now turned into full circles. As though there was an eclipse or something there for a minute or two. 315, now we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south, 10 degrees off the horizon. And the ones in the north are moving, one's moving away from us. Moving out fast.
This one on the right's heading away, too.
Yeah, we're both heading north. Okay, here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal. 330, or 0330, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around and heading back toward the base. The object to the south is still beaming down lights to the ground. 400 hours, one object still hovering over Woodbridge Base at about 5 to 10 degrees off the horizon, still moving erratic and similar lights and beaming down this area.
Nice.
Okay, and thanks for coming. That was probably only like 2 or 3 minutes, but just to give you an idea of how serious they were about it, how afraid they were, you can hear it in their voices.
Real.
Of the 83 military personnel who saw something that night, 42 of them developed rare cancers within a decade. 63 of them are now deceased. 28 of them have experienced memory loss. 12 went into hiding, and 27 have recanted their statements under suspicious circumstances.
Yeah.
Which means they were bullied by the MIBs, right?
So basically, they're like, they
were
just went completely like
their families were just
180 on everything.
Yeah.
They said.
Yeah, right? So we have, here's something. The Andromedan Council.
Okay, cool.
Admiral William Cohen said they present themselves as a confederation of 139 different star systems. Their primary concern was maintaining galactic law and preventing unauthorized interventions in developing worlds. So that sounds just like something from Star Trek. Key points of intervention there would be the 1961 Cuban Missile Crisis prevention.
Yeah.
There was prevention of the 1983 nuclear exchange and the 2012 solar flare mitigations, which are that's what they're saying. The Andromedan Council stepped in to help out. You know.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Then we have something called the Syrian Alliance. That's the Syrian civilization from the Sirius star systems. Remember, there was a few different types of them. There was the I believe the Pleiadians are there, and then there's the Plejorans that are like the amphibious type of them. Maria Hernandez, an astronomer in 2015, said the craft was crystalline in structure. When it rotated, it seemed to bend its light itself. The beings inside communicated through what I can only describe as colored light patterns. That sounds almost like the Blue Avian stuff again, where it's just like kind of beyond comprehension stuff, but it's I don't know.
So if like you like
crystalline
you try to describe it,
again.
but it's like just
crystals show up in almost every one of these things, and not like I don't think it's just like a little cute quartz crystal that you have. Well,
because
like
I've heard this before too. It's described as because we're carbon based, but there's like crystal based life.
Or like
universe. quartz based or something. You know, it's like
different like
it's like just based off something because like
sure.
that's it's just like a more efficient
or at least like as far as building blocks, because I always talk about like growing the crystals or building it from there somehow. So I don't know. That's just
there's like something more about that. I gotta look more into that, but that's like something I remember hearing.
So the Syrian Alliance is their reported agenda, as far as we know, would be marine biology research and oceanic bases. Okay, so they might be some of these USOs, those submerged, unidentified submerged objects, whatever that is. Human consciousness expansion, and they kind of have the opposition to gray genetic programs. Okay, and I have a lot on that later because there's a good. After the front half of this, the back half of this episode is going to be all about mantoids and mantid aliens. I wanted to, just like the Blue Avians, I wanted to dig into some of that stuff. We have an old Red Temple tape that we go over some stuff, and I wanted to just dig into that. Before then, though, we have some people called the Nomos. These are this is an interpretation of Dogon tribe mythology. Okay, this is this is like, I guess it gained prominence in Robert Temple's 1976 book, The Serious Mystery, right? Yeah. But there are these temples that have these interpretations of this Dogon mythology, this like, I believe it's like a half fish, half man thing, right? Yeah. Those Nomos are supposedly coming from a planet orbiting Sirius B. The description would be like amphibious fish-like beings. They would have been one of the like ancient arrivals on Earth, maybe along with the Anunnaki on a different scale. I believe one is depicted in like some of the Mesopotamian stuff. Like fighting like Tiamat even, perhaps. I'm not really exactly sure. But there's some stuff there. And there's some other... there's like a few different beings that are on that Sirius A and B like star system, I'm pretty sure. So I think they all might be involved there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's pretty much the alliances. I think everybody else is kind of working for themselves. They have some stuff on like the secret government stuff a little later, but... As far as the aliens, I think they all got bigger plans. It's really hard to pin down. Yeah, it's mostly.
Well, I know like there's like treaties and stuff that they made with like humans.
Well, there's the like the Eisenhower signature stuff from whenever he was in presidency. We went over last episode. Yeah, there's the Phil Schneider stuff.
That clip from Phil Schneider was talking about like the different treaties and how like they like signed treaties that they'd like let like whoever's like in charge and like the government's like know who they're like. like the cows and like all the abductions, like everything they're doing, like people they're abducting and like why they're abducting and then like why they're like mutilating cows and this and that, but they just like didn't. They just didn't. So there's like it's kind of like a weird like this kind of like I don't know, kind of creating like bargains almost, and then going back on it, kind of.
Yeah, and how do we as humans like catch them on that sort of?
No, exactly.
Say one thing, do another. What the fuck are we gonna do? You know?
Okay, so we're kind of getting taken for a ride by some of these things.
Yeah. And then so just some kind of basic like ancient astronomer kind of evidence stuff. Is saying as far as like it's not like these wars are just now prevailing, like coming over us. They've been going for like aeons, I think, like forever, kind of. So there's like the Nazca lines, these huge fucking lines that are just these strange shapes and patterns and creatures.
Huge.
There's the Puma Punka the impossibilities of the architecture there. Like some of you look at some of the places, but I think that one specifically is where there's the like the lines of the brickwork. These like many thousands of pound like stones are like so tightly packed together. It's like
doesn't even make sense.
You couldn't really even do it now. I'm pretty sure.
No, there's a lot of those where you're like, how did they do this? We couldn't do this if we wanted to.
There's like ancient nuclear war evidence in India. There's like like radiation there, and then there's
like a certain type of glass, like a certain like mineral that like are like glass, kind of like a thing. I don't know. There's like something that like it's only created from like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, and then you look at all their mythology, and there's like these talks of people like
these like super powerful weapons.
We went over weapons a long time ago. We'll do
and like cataclysms and stuff like that. Yeah,
there are weapons in the Hindu or in like in that area that are in mythology said to basically like blow holes in the whole fucking planet, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an ancient war if I ever.
So that's good. Yeah. So these have been going on for a while then.
And then like underwater structures that predate known civilization. There's a couple different. I come to mind. There's one specifically in like the I think in the I did it. There's a red temple tape on it, but there's one that there's some that just have such strange straight line patterns and etchings, and they're either like fully like statues and bricks, and you can tell it's something, or it's something that looks like a lost
whole shrines.
Yeah,
Well, even I'm pretty sure there's like pyramids that are like in the ocean, and it's like what the fuck. That means there's like relatively recent enough where it's not completely just like washed away by the ocean.
Yeah.
But like there's like some kind of cataclysm that like changed the landscape like drastically and like rapidly. And also, who knows what's even in like the Sahara Desert? Yeah,
a large underwater pyramid was discovered between the Azores Islands of São Miguel and Terceira, Portugal by in 2013. The structure is approximately 60 meters tall with a base area of 8,000 square meters and is reportedly aligned with the cardinal points. The Portuguese Navy is investigating its origins, considering it may be man-made or a natural formation, as the site has been submerged for about 20,000 years.
Yeah.
There you go. Speculations include connections with ancient civilizations and Atlantis,
all that good shit.
So there you go. Right. It's like talk about just structures under the wall. Yeah, like a pyramid.
And there's like pyramids and stuff like being like there's like mountains that people are like, this is a pyramid because it's like it has like the same like faces and stuff, and like the faces are like perfectly aligned with like the cardinal directions. Yeah, which is like I don't know. And there's been like I think it's like Bulgaria or something. There's like one that like this archaeologist was like, we need to like dig this up. And like he started doing it, and they like found a bunch of shit, and they're like, "Oh, this is definitely a pyramid." And then like it got shut down. Like, actually, nope.
Yeah, all these structures
you can't
that
do this
are
anymore.
Very obviously,
and it looks just
organic.
like the pyramids before they got like uncovered in like South America and stuff. Looks just like that, where it's like grown over and like.
Then there's like it seems like there might be like at least one pyramid in Antarctica.
Yeah. Definitely, dude. A lot of people don't want to say it is. Yeah. It definitely is.
And if it's not
I'd be
the
willing
one
to
that
bet there's some up in the North Pole too.
Yeah,
and like them and all that.
Then you talk about like underground pyramids and caverns like that, because I also have just like a list of some of the suggested tunnels and like places, entrances to the inner Earth right here.
Yeah, the domes, all that.
Yeah. So like, in Arizona, there's a tunnel near Cedar Creek that is believed to lead inside the Earth. In the Grand Canyon, the Hopi people speak of a Sipopu entrance leading to the underworld. And Tibet and the Himalayas, an underground chamber system is said to exist between the mountains. That's also where I'm pretty sure like the Golden City is supposed to be located in some of their mythologies. There's a cavern system reportedly underneath the Caucasus Mountains. And then in Turkey, there's like ancient underground cities with complex tunnel systems. So,
yeah, those underground cities, they're like ant colonies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's like no evidence of like there being fires or torches to light it.
And then
there was some way to like light that.
Well, we hear about those. We've talked with people about people that see like green or blue light underneath here. Like it's like a green light a lot of the time.
It's glowing, just like, and it's not. There's no light source. Things are just like
ambient light. It's a lot of the times you'll even hear. Yeah, it's like the wall themselves glowing, like we heard in the Corey Good Blue Avian story. But if it's something more natural, like in the Earth, I don't know. It's like it's just like the walls themselves are glowing. There's something.
Some sort of bioluminescence.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But then it does like usually affect like the like complexion of like the creatures down there. You hear about like the either like more pale or blue or something that like that color of light would happen. We did that story on the it's a different Patreon episode. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. We'll check it out if it isn't, or if it is. But it's the Green Children of Woolpit.
Yeah.
They were describing being in like a underground city of Twilight and like
different sun.
Yeah. So that's just something off the dome. I also do have a little bit on the Dulce base.
Yeah.
That's in.
Phil Schneider was talking about that too.
Phil Schneider.
It's like where he was working.
He at one point said the firefight lasted nearly 3 hours. We lost 66 special force operators that day. What we encountered, it wasn't just one species down there. They were working together. So there's according to numerous whistleblowers, there's a network of facilities that contain all this. It's like the primary battlefield for what we're doing here. Like there's the seismic data from New Mexico shows massive caverns that don't appear natural in origin.
Yeah.
The pattern suggests artificial construction of depths exceeding 8 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, but it's probably like 6.5.
Yeah, it's like I know he was talking
down,
about like there was these caverns that they were like building tunnels to, because he was like an engineer working on like the tunnels, and they like built it into these caverns, and these things he said just were like there for some amount of time. They've just been there for a while. These like aliens and stuff, and like, but he said there's like over like 130 or something across America. So who knows how many are in the world, and they're all connected by like tunnels, but they're like. They go down like 5 miles.
Yeah, that's what it said. I just did the conversion. It's 5 miles, which is an insane.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, for something artificial or natural to be going down, that's just like a huge amount of space. Dawson,
I know there's a few out here in like Colorado.
Yeah,
like Denver Airport is like the entrance to one. That's what like Phil Schneider was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is another one.
All the old mining entrances and stuff, and then there's like I have
a lot of them you can't go in either.
I have a few diagrams of like these underground. Like it goes from like these cities in the mountains all the way to Denver, all the way to a little bit like more east like that. Yeah, I got those somewhere. I might post those on the Patreon too.
All just it's
also I got some of the reported base levels, the different levels of like on the elevator when you're going down the Dulce.
Yeah,
you're just sitting there like.
Yeah.
Levels 1 to 3 are human military operations. Levels 4 to 6 are genetic research laboratories.
Yeah, cool.
Level 7 is joint human and alien operations. Level 8 and 9 are alien quarters and technology development. Levels 10 plus are purpose unknown.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff Phil was talking about was like they're almost like prisons almost.
I'm sure.
Slave camps and kind of shit like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can see that.
Which is freaky as hell.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, people get disappeared. Missing 411. You can tie into all this.
Yeah, and you like think of like the Denver airport like murals and like that shit.
Well, the amount of people that go, like that's a huge trafficking site, and it's like you can blame probably 99% of it on like the real shit like child predators.
Well, like people that just get disappeared too. Like they keep talking too much.
Like, I
all of
don't
a sudden
want to
they
discount
disappear.
any of that at all, but I also want to say maybe a few of those people are also getting disappeared to a
Yeah.
different location, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like, Denver basically has an endless supply of homeless people at this point. Like, you don't think that they're just getting, like, if you just, like,
Put them down,
put a
get them
camera down the
tested
street at
on,
night,
get genetic experiments
yeah,
done
you
on
probably
them.
see a few people get thrown into, like, the back of vans and, like,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Things that look like an ambulance, but it's like not.
Yeah, they just go and pick you up. Oh, I'm getting the shivers, dog.
Yeah. Shit's weird.
Whew.
Yeah, you go walk around some of these like spots where like the camps are
Yeah.
certain times of night.
It ain't
They
right.
start getting cleared out, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Do you want to hear a little bit about the secret space program? Since we're kind of talking about human alien mix and match stuff now at this point. An anonymous Pentagon official from 2019 said, by the 1980s, we had recovered enough technology to begin our own deep space operations. The question wasn't if we could reach the stars, but if we should.
Yeah.
Here are some reported programs from the space program, and I do know I guess we've heard of all these, but I actually used the first one, Operation Solar Warden. I use Solar Warden as like my screen name on a lot of stuff because it's badass. That's like a space fleet operation. Operation Looking Glass, you've heard of that, Doss?
Yeah.
That's a temporal viewing technology.
I was watching something about Solar Warden recently too.
Yeah. It comes up on some stuff. That's probably the most notable. That's probably the most like known. Looking Glass temporal
too.
stuff. Project Pegasus. I'm not
Pegasus.
even sure. That's teleportation research though.
Yeah,
we should dig into that. I like all these programs. Let's give all these programs their own episode.
Yeah.
Project Dark Fleet is a deep space military operation.
Deep space.
Yeah. So we're talking probably post solar system. Like you're you're just in like the universe column. Then
The Dark Fleet. Yeah.
So we can do a whole episode on Dark Fleet.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
So where some of these like alleged locations would be, or just locations. I don't want to say alleged. I believe it all now. You know, we're in this deep. We're in episode 2 of this. I have to believe it. It's been so much research.
Yeah.
There's the lunar far side bases.
Yeah.
You know, we only ever see one face of the moon. You know, I couldn't tell you what's on the back half.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the videos of like it looks like flying craft coming out of like
and
craters.
You've heard of? I think I have.
There's like you can see like the shadow on the moon, and it's like, do you see that? If that's on the moon, you know how massive that is?
Yeah.
If you can see it like that.
Well,
that's like a city moving.
Picture reports of somebody is like
what?
It's from somebody that went to the moon, and it's their report of going into like a crater. And then on the rim of the other side of the crater is like a bunch of huge vehicles, like black, weird shaped vehicles, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like weird reports
like
of like
incomprehensible how big.
Like there's definitely something like you know how many satellites, like quote unquote satellites, are shot into space every day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
Probably a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much out there. But speaking of that though, like these space programs and shit, like that book I'm reading that was like written in the 80s, or like these things are like talking about how like we're not allowed into space until we like cleanse ourselves basically.
Yeah.
We can't go into the heavens, you know? It's like,
well,
cuz like until we like just like aren't warring and shit.
Well, I think some of these operations like the like Dark Fleet, like maybe they like have some other like way of quote unquote like cleansing and like
that's the thing is like maybe that's the thing I think
whatever the like magic /
there's like probably like some like you know Faustian type bargains where it's like
that's what
we'll go you give us the power and the knowledge to like
it's the intersection of
leave the garden
and science.
You know?
Yeah, they just this is just like what happens when you just let the Nazis run the government for 200 years.
No, exactly. Pretty much. Yeah. All right, we're gonna like just send them.
So yeah, just so you know, every single day 8 satellites are launched into space. That's 2,800 satellites were launched between 2023. Wait, no, that's not right. Between 2023 and 2032. I don't know. Within like 9 years, we're gonna have like 3,000 more things up there. 8 a day though. I don't know if that math's right. 8 a day is the real answer there. So you can just sneak like a secret one in there every now and then.
Yeah.
Secret cargo.
Easily.
Yeah. You wouldn't even have to go through government means. If like
no.
even then they wouldn't because these are like
it's like
these are under the table stuff.
I remember realizing
that's going through like some weird like third not like third company like parties within parties.
Like SpaceX's like I remember seeing like the fucking lights, whatever the fuck that is.
Starlink.
The Starlink.
Yeah.
and like not knowing that like that happened.
Oh yeah, that's frightening.
And it's like, people can just do that. If you have enough money, you can just like launch rockets into space.
And it's like if you don't want to be like famous, like some famous asshole or whatever.
No, there's billionaires that we will never know.
So it's like and then you can just do whatever you want and just be under the table, and that's
the government's like you're doing things so like the governments can do things anonymously.
Yeah, with the election coming up right here, I just want to say everybody's under a spell. Nothing matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do your part though. Vote for whoever you think should win for 4 years, as if that's going to do
or not
anything.
I don't know.
But just like them, just letting you know, like there's plans within plans and parties within parties that you could not.
The script has already been laid out.
Yeah. So anyway,
the script is laid out.
Yeah. 8 satellites a day.
You can like go.
They're putting packages in there.
Yeah, you can like go to the WWE fight with like your Stone Cold sign, or your The Rock sign. You know, whatever you want to do. But
yes, you can. And
they already know
they're going to do their dance.
They're putting their show on. But that's that. What else?
So do you want to hear about the technology exchange program here, Dawson?
Yeah, let's do it.
We talked a little bit about it last episode, but we can just go over it again. This is the kind of the technological leaps between the 20th century and 21st century that seem to be. I mean, they were great. They were astounding. You know, like 100 years ago, what we're doing right now would look insane.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like I know a lot of it's like biometrics is part of that. It would look
exactly like how we would think of like an alien ship. You know, we're just like we're sitting here at the table with like a huge ass screen and like a bunch of gizmos around us. Like, I don't know.
We have like computers beyond their comprehension in our pockets,
and it's like so simple. Yeah. So.
This is everyday shit. This isn't even like the highest end.
Yeah. Again, I think I said this last episode, but Dr. Thomas Reynolds, a former Silicon Valley executive, said what we achieved between 1947 and 1960 was impossible. The transistor's development, the integrated circuit, it wasn't natural progression. We had help. Alleged technology transfers during that time, fiber optics from 1957. The original source was from the Gray Federation. We went over this last time. Is in military use, and then we kind of almost are just getting it installed in like current household packages for like internet. You know, we've had this for 70 or 80 years at this point. Dr. Harold Mitchell, deceased now from a suspicious car accident, witnessed this like transfer. He in his final interview a year before the incident, 1 year before the incident, not a coincidence, wink. He said they showed us how to grow the crystals. Yeah. Perfect molecular alignment. When I asked why they were helping us, they said it was part of their agreement. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then, again, the MRI thing from last episode, Dr. Sarah Wong, who was disappeared in 2019.
Yeah.
Wonder what
space she's in.
Yeah. She talked about how we reverse engineered their MRI technology, but we dumbed it down because they were on like a temporal displacement body scanning at that point. Excuse me.
And that's like what this kind of shit happens, and I'm like, you're trying to tell me there's not cures for cancer? Come on now.
Yeah. Come on now. We've had nanotechnology for
we've known about this. We know we can do this. Like, come on now.
For at least 80 years.
We got a cure for everything.
Yeah.
You know. Come on now.
Yeah, but it's just the control systems. What are we going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? We're all stuck in it.
I mean, they're all just, I guess, playing their part and, I guess, dancing into somebody else's hand.
I think, like, the more we, like, kind of just understand this stuff, too, the more, like, it's just going to come out.
Yeah.
The more, like, we're, like, everyone's, like, minds open up to the possibility of this, like, being reality. Because it just is.
Can I tell you, I had, like, a bit of a breakdown today.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it. Fuck that.
I literally, like, I just came to like a chaos magic conclusion of like I am God. It's like a classic thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not even like not in like a cool good way. Not like nothing. I don't know. But I like was seriously just like I don't know. Something just hit me really hard, and I just like really started freaking out, and like everybody around me started like I don't know. Maya started getting like twitchy, and like Anubis started like freaking out, and like the whole family started like rupturing a little bit. And I feel like I was like I was getting shivers in this place in the back of my head where I have never gotten shivers before, and I felt like I was about to like, I was literally staring at like I think it was just like I'm insane. Like I was I was in the bathroom with my hands on the fucking sink, staring at the like faucet, and I was literally trying to like matrix myself. I was like, the sink isn't real. Like I was bad. I was and like you want to know something?
Yeah.
Some soap bubbles behind the sink like just like fluttered about, like just like
Yeah.
I don't know, and I didn't have the sink running, like nothing. I mean, that's nothing. That didn't like that doesn't mean anything. But like,
nah, man.
in my mind right there, I was
No,
literally.
you're probably just getting some downloads.
Yeah, I'm freaking out right now.
Cause I get that sometimes. I'll be like laying around, and I'm all of a sudden I'm like, it's like these like thoughts just start racing in my mind, and it's like part of me is like, okay, I'm having like an anxiety attack or something.
Yeah.
But then like I start like listening to them and just like let them like, come through.
Yeah.
Try to like get a clear message out of them, and it's like
I'm crying.
all of a sudden I'm getting shit. All of a sudden I'm getting shit that I'm like, why do I know this right now? Like,
Yeah.
What is this coming from? What is this? And it's like it's just like like.
And like I've had my fair share of like anxiety attacks. It wasn't like that. It was very peculiar. I'll say. I meant to bring it up at the top just because I was like,
no, this shit is shit's real. I'm getting yeah, there's like things I like see. It's like synchronicities will happen, and all of a sudden it's like I get like it's like I'm getting a download of something.
I know. No,
and
like,
it's something people talk about. Like they get like
I fucking felt like I was about to fall through reality.
You're getting these
and,
like messages of like something beyond
kratom
of
yet.
us.
I was like. I wasn't on like, or didn't even like, I smoked like a joint, I think.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like I was just like, just a dude. Yeah, and it just fucking got me. Anyway, let's talk. I want to dig into, so there's a nice little layout for everybody. It sounds like we have a lot of research to do in the future about some of these secret programs, and like we can dig into more of like I want to try to look into some missing 411 stuff to like tie all that in.
Yeah.
A lot of, that all goes into it. It seems like all those pinpoints in the map are around the supposed dumbs and all this kind of
they're all
the underground military, the deep underground military bases. It seems like in like between that and then the cavern systems, like all the places I just named, like that's.
And
where
then
the
you just
missing
like tie in like UFO sightings and like they're like all hot spots for shit.
So I'm gonna try to make a nice like insane person's wall where it's just like red string connecting all this. And we're gonna try to present that in some kind of fashion that isn't mind like breaking. But I like what happened to me today trying to put it together, because now I have a little series I call Mantid Madness. Last time we'd stepped into the blue avian household, and I think I have a little clearer picture this time than last time because I had a second more to research it. But yeah, I want to dive into this like really spooky aspect of the ongoing coverage of the alien wars here. Mantids are seeming to be some of the most like, I don't know. They don't seem to be on like the plus side for us. It seems like they're like up to no goodery. So before we begin, last episode we talked about the various alien races kind of competing to control Earth or whatever all this is, the meetings with the humans and all that. We're talking about mantids now. So before we get into like the stories and stuff, I just wanted to talk about their characteristics. I got some nice stats here. They're usually between 6 to 8 feet tall. They're extremely thin with elongated torsos, exoskeleton-like body composition, additional joints in neck, arms, and hands, often described as coated with an oily substance. I mean, it really is like very mantis-looking like. Their heads are triangular or like inverted heart shape. There's a couple people that say it's like an inverted heart, like basically that mantis head shape. Large, bulging, slanted eyes, and a distinct insectoid features. 3 prolonged fingers on hands and feet, right, and like claw-like extremities, right. And this again, there's this like mechanical, precise movement thing about it. So even this like thing that seems like they're controlling the grays in some way, it seems like maybe they're also mechanical. Or it's just like it's this very jerking motion that is described a lot of times. They're either like brown or gray or green or black. It seems like. And they talk telepathically to humans and do this like clicking thing to themselves and to like grays. It seems like they're like that's how they like usually talk.
That alien talk. Some prawn. District 9 talking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, pretty much just like that, I think. It seems like, just like the hierarchy of it all, it seems like they are overseers in most encounters. It seems like they are like the authority over at least like the short gray aliens. And they have like organization and like maybe a tactical coordination.
Maybe some kind of an alliance there.
Yeah, definitely. I think either that or it's the same thing. It's like it's a larger group. Using different types of things. I know when we were talking to the Shaws on that when they brought their book on to be interviewed about, they were talking about like different types of basically like biomech bodies that you just get. You basically dump an intelligence into to do the work.
Or like something like that, like can't manifest in like a physical form.
Yeah.
It needs like a
It
vessel.
would need a vessel. Yeah, classic demon stuff too. Then.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's gonna be those are the bad boys. Dude, that's making sense.
Yeah, that fits
That's
right.
all
in.
making sense.
Yep. They also seem to have the ability to create holographic projections.
Yeah.
I've read multiple reports of like witnesses seeing like devastating images of Earth's destruction.
Yeah.
They're just
Sounds
that
pretty
on 'em.
demonic.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't
No,
know. If
yeah,
that's,
like they're gonna show you the worst things ever.
to me, I guess I'm seeing like the entire world blowing up, and maybe it's like on a smaller scale for each individual or something.
Yeah,
but just
yeah.
like
Well, my mind goes to like those like flashing compilations of like wars of war and
get
stuff.
when you're like you got your eyes peeled back, and
Like
you're
some
just-
like Clockwork Orange shit.
yeah,
You know?
you're right. It probably is something like that, just like blasting
You're
you
just
with
getting
this
like
stuff.
yeah. Sometimes when I just like try to close my eyes and go to bed, stuff like that.
So Dawson, 1975, Arizona. We're talking Travis Walton again. His
Yeah, here
name
we
comes
go.
up a lot. I think I fought it at first, and now I really want to dig into it further because he
Yeah.
did see it all. He had an encounter.
It is a great story.
Yeah, he had. I just did. We'll get him. We'll get him.
Yeah, yeah. The whole episode.
Yeah, he had an encounter that basically forever changed how all of us view these entities. He described looking directly into the face of what he called a creature with huge bulging eyes and a head shaped like an upside down heart. That's
Yeah.
where that specific description comes from. He also described the movement as jerky and mechanical, so like almost like animatronic like.
Yeah.
It's like weird, like it's not even moving like even smoothly maybe, but like
Well, have you ever like just like watch like a mantis moving around?
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. It is very like mechanical, like robotic.
It is.
It's like
It
very,
is.
but it's like super precise. Like,
And I have
everything's,
something
like,
on that a little later, actually, how maybe that is connected to everything. Their apparent interest in, like, right now seems to be human genetics. It's kind of like
Yeah.
going along with the Greys, like, kind of like, I don't know, like, reports are, like, medical procedures, like tissue sampling and, like, genetic testing and stuff like that. People getting, like, grafts and, like,
if they're like, if there's something that needs like a vessel, you know, that makes sense.
You hear, like,
they're
scoops and
growing,
stuff
like,
that.
that's why they would need like genetic materials so
Yeah.
they can grow these
whatever,
vessels,
some weird hybrid things.
these
some-
human vessels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which then, what is that? Just a different alien that's down here that we would call like a reptilian thing then, or whatever.
Yeah.
You
Are
know?
there some just in plain sight?
Yeah.
So a lot of that's like there's theories and like that's what's like running the government and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's like, is that me? Is that my brain is
that
breaking
me?
while reading this? Am I
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
my,
yeah,
history,
yeah.
my family history for the first time?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, it's making a lot of sense now.
Oh yeah, with dude, we're just in our Earth suits, man.
They some people believe that they're running a hybrid program, so and they're also suggested to be monitoring changes in human evolution. A lot of these aliens seem to be, but
They're
the
very
mantises
concerned with that
seem
stuff.
to be doing a lot of collecting. Some of these races seem to just come and talk. Maybe they bang you. These mantis creatures seem to be like saying what's up.
Just doing running tests.
Yeah. During a hypnosis session, a woman named Kim recounted waking up in what she thought was her bed, only to find herself in a massive room surrounded by these entities. She described them as walking sticks with huge heads and eyes. They performed experiments on her, treating her like a lab rat. She said lab rat in her words. Anything on that? Yeah, it's the classic like abduction thing. And then we got Paul. He's a man who underwent hypnosis. They were kind of kept anonymous too, but he recalled being taken to an underground base as a child. He described massive caverns, right? We talked about that already. Possibly beneath the ocean, where these beings operated from where he described rock wall, like he described rock walls and what appeared to be an undersea UFO base. Yeah, and then we're gonna get into. Because like I said at the beginning, this hasn't just been starting now. This has been going on. So, for example, in ancient Egyptian texts, mantis beings are described as guiding souls through the underworld. So I think back... Okay, you want to think about that for a second? There's these glowing walls with, like, crazy, like, hieroglyphs and shit that you think you're being taken to, like, another world, and you're being, like... Your brain's being erased from this shit. You're like getting experimented on. Like back then, it's probably like, okay, we're going to the underworld. Like, I mean, maybe you really are in the underworld. And it's like,
I mean, that makes sense.
It's like, ancient Egypt, all their fucking gods are animal-headed creatures. Like, if there's these giant mantoids with like superior technology and like glowing fucking your hieroglyphs on the walls and shit, and like, Yeah, it's like right there, you know.
Oh yeah, I think like the other thing too is like the Egyptians were really obsessed with like the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
That was like their whole thing.
Because it seems like were like tapped into it, or there's a lot about the Egyptians and just all those really ancient cultures that just have something to it.
They like knew, like where we're like really technologically and like materialistically, you know, obsessed. Like they're like, okay, the afterlife is like the real shit. We're investigating that. And they like, they had a ton of information on like their myths and whatever, but which I think is more closer to reality than just like myths and like stories. Like I think it's like kind of just what happens. Like they just like went, you know, had like NDE kind of things, you know, journeys, things like maybe told them things, you know. I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, you're almost like, I don't know. It intersects like more ancient civilizations. We're talking about 20,000-year-old pyramids. You know, it's like, are these like
we
memories? Talk about Egypt and these Mesopotamian places, like the oldest places, but then you got to put it in the perspective of that, like maybe those are like new colonies based like breaking away from these like Lemurian areas. This
or like they're like what's left after like the cataclysm. You know,
so I don't know
like the survivors. So
what
it's like whatever they have is
before that is before we get into more ancient stuff, though, I do have a 1.5-minute Red Temple tape describing just a specific encounter with mantoids. I'm going to play that here. Hopefully the audio comes through okay.
Here we go.
Oh.
Pennsylvania. Okay, it's 2002, and we're in Lackawanna County. A girl that we'll call Alice has to go to her friend's grandparents' house to help set up their computer. Their granddaughter's asleep in the next room when Alice arrives. After being there a while, setting everything up, she notices a cold breeze rolling through with no windows or doors open. Suddenly, the grandparents look toward the kitchen, and Alice freezes in place. 3 unknown creatures are standing there. 2 of them are short, thick-necked, gray aliens in silvery jumpsuits. But the third creature, standing between them and much taller, is a mantoid. All 3 creatures go into another room. They return with the mantis holding the granddaughter. Alice goes on to say this in reports. It's looking at me, and I get the feeling it knows who I am. The grandparents were only staring. Alice fought to take a step toward the aliens, but the grandpa reached out and put a hand on her shoulder. He told her they will bring her back. The humans and the creatures stood silently, staring at each other. Light extends around the aliens, and they simply vanish, leaving the glow to dissipate a moment later. The grandpa stood there repeating, "She'll be back. She'll be back." Alice bolted out of the house, got on her bike, went home. She just couldn't deal with what she saw. Alice called a few hours later, and the girl had been returned, but soon after, the family as a whole moved elsewhere. Since then, Alice claims that she's had no contact with the family.
Yeah.
Nice, thanks for that, guy in the field. Right, though, that was just like a more specific like example of how they seem to be like
in
cahoots and like kind of controlling it. And also, I like the presentation of like grays as these like short, thick-necked things. So I have a different thing from a local news segment I might get to later that is a little bit about the grays if we have time, but I can save it for later too. Let's get into some of these ancient origins though, because I got some stuff.
Let's get into it here.
And well, maybe first we can even get into what the hell they are. Like, are they extraterrestrials? Are they interdimensional beings?
Yeah.
And then there's this third theory that is talk about ancient civs, ancient stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are they possibly like evolved Earth insects from like millions of years ago? You know, that's like probably the most wild one to throw out, even on top of interdimensional beings for me somehow. But I don't know. I don't know.
Possibly.
I look at I've been looking at like fossil record reports and like misidentified fossils, and so I was trying to get into Strider research actually for like the Antarctica like super predator thing that I go into sometimes, but there's there's a couple of misidentified like I don't know, anything's possible I'll say, but I'd almost think they're like poking through from something else. They're like I don't know if the mantoid is just like a form that we see when they're around, or if it is like the body that they're transferring into. But anyway, let's see. They could have been here for like forever though. You know, like a lot of sometimes these aliens are like underground already. So there's note of this in Egypt, in Africa, in Greece, in China, and like some Native American places, cultures. I mean, there's like for thousands of years in ancient Egypt, they appeared in the Book of the Dead as guides to the underworld. Like I said, right? They were out there in the Book of the Dead, guiding you through that space that we now would see as some weird underground facility, right? glowing like rocks on the sides.
Some sort of underground base.
Yeah. The Khoisan tribe of Africa believes a mantis-like being was the first creature on Earth, credited with creating the moon itself and bringing fire to humanity.
Yeah.
So I like that thing too. That's kind of a different take on it. Bringing like the classic fire bringer, Prometheus thing, like the Loki like thing. Interesting to like tie that together a little bit. Like, I don't know if that almost puts like a creator god aspect on it.
Like us getting technology from this shit too. It's like that's the same. Is that
the trade? That's the fire being handed off still. Yeah, it's still happening. We're still getting fucking fire from the gods all the time.
Oh yeah. That's what cell phones are.
Yeah.
That's what it all is.
In the Book of the Dead from ancient Egypt, they were called bird flies, entities that led souls through the darkness. Right, so that's like dark room shadow people, but also bird flies. It does make me think of blue avians for a second there.
Blue avian, possibly mantis. I don't know.
Huh? Those are two like interesting sides.
Yeah.
I also like the like classic like bird eating an insect thing.
Yeah.
Maybe blue avians are like the sacred side of the void, sacred void thing. I don't know. Something to consider. And then even in ancient Mesopotamia, or earlier than Egypt, there was mantises were known as necromancers and soothsayers. They were believed to possess knowledge beyond human understanding. Right?
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
The first and like basically the first civilization, they're like, yeah, these things know what's up.
Yeah.
These things.
We know what this is.
Yeah, we know what this is. This thing is a necromancing soothsayer.
Obviously.
Beyond
praying mantis.
Yeah. And then, Doss, you're going to Greece here. In Greece, they were thought to have powers to guide lost travelers home.
Oh, shit. I'm going to have to find a mantis.
Yeah. So just like, but even...
Oh, sweet.
Like, like guiding things, like moving stuff around, like, I don't know. I'm sure that they would bring you home, but I think they'd probably take you to their like little base first and peel some skin off you and grow some new skin and put that on you or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. Put an implant in you.
Yeah. Okay. I do have time for the local news thing, but first, Dawson, I just have one question here at the end that I wrote down.
What's this?
What's their ultimate goal? We want to chat about that. We're throwing a lot of theories around for all these.
I think there's a few different goals. So I think there's some that are trying to
and this might get very wild, metaphysical, end game type stuff.
Because I think there's some that are trying to bring people up to the next level of civilization. Bring peace on Earth, kind of a thing. Trying to guide us there. I think that's definitely part of it. I think there's some that are kind of trying to do something a little different too.
The opposite, kind of pushing
kind
down.
Of the opposite. Maybe.
Do you think okay, say that we get the upgrade, we get the boost, we boost to plane 4 or whatever. We get to level up.
Yeah. And
whatever that means for society, whether we all lose our skin and we're light beings, or we all just can talk to each other with our minds now, or whatever that is. Maybe it's a little more subtle. Maybe it's just it's more of a spiritual awakening of just
we're all just
feeling pretty good.
Way more super empathic kind of level.
Would we then join the wars and try to
that's
other thing? Is this an ongoing? Would there be other? I don't know. Is there other things that are? I guess that's just a different question entirely. I guess there's always other aliens to enlighten if there's this many. If there is this many alien races that are on the solar path, the universal radar, then there's definitely a bunch of
so many of them,
primordial goop ones, and ones that are a little less than us, and little ones that are a little further than us, ones that are just getting invited
right
into
around
the fold.
here.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure there's some that are trying to enslave us.
Here's a question: What do you think the first ones are? What's the progenitor then? If these are all there, or are they? Or I mean, it's possible they are all developed separately. But a lot of them are said to be grown or changed or moved through different ones. The Mantid seem fairly old.
Yeah, that's probably pretty old.
The blue avians for me are pretty strikingly old. It seems just because their technology seems so weird.
Yeah,
it's just glowing crystals and matrix feathers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like they're all from before our time, obviously, because they're so more advanced than us that they're they're all beyond ancient. You know what I mean?
At least pre-Ice Age.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'd say
because then the ones that are 25,000 years old, the one that made the underwater pyramid, they'd still be underground or possibly in another dimension, and then they could. I don't know. I feel like that still puts them relatively close in technology compared to some of these things.
Yeah,
even like giving them the ability to like fully go through planes of existence and things like that. I think some of these, like what the blue avian things were describing, it was hard for me to read because it was like hard to parse because it's like this is not
bizarre.
It's just like talking about blue orbs, and like it reminds me of like looking in the future so far where it's like I don't know what this is anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, this
is like what it is. It's like what?
Like I went too far. I don't want to go this fucking far.
Like I don't recognize anything anymore.
Yeah, there's not Nintendo anywhere.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think like, yeah. I don't know. I think like some of them are like millions, millions of years before us, just fucking
just playing that long game.
Yeah. I'm sure like some of them they like live like individually as thousands of years. I'm imagining.
Yeah, the whole time
like,
frame.
They're probably not like don't have like a human lifespan.
And then you fold in like if any single one of them
infinite.
happened to make like an AI like creature, or if like say maybe the Greys are like an AI creature they made, or it's like it's always evolving. I think too, because once you kind of open that box, it doesn't close.
I also
again.
think like these things are almost have like god-like abilities. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
they might just be immortal.
Do. It seems like
they might just be like immortal beings that like are beyond like time and age. And
I think at some point you don't live in time the same way we do.
They're in like a different. They're like in a place where like it's they're existing outside of like the time dimension.
At least as we
as we understand it.
Yeah, whatever.
It's
that
a very like
means.
human thing. Time's like a human thing.
Yeah, you gotta have
I think that's like why we're kind of special. I think too. Like
sort of. I mean, you can understand the time passing.
Means.
I think more than most creatures do.
Yeah.
Which is something you like unlock that ability, and then I think at some point you must like push past that. 'Cause you're like, oh, that was fake.
Yeah. Like, oh, we don't need to do that. We don't. That doesn't serve
you
us
like
anymore.
grow consciousness and like time perception at the same moment, and then like you need to push away time perception to like have just full conscious light being status. You know,
because time isn't. Well, we have to like understand it. We have to like go through it just to like understand what it is, so you can kind of like graduate past it, so you can master it basically.
Yeah, and here we are again talking about like it's mostly just like a like self-help thing.
Yeah, basically. That's a fucking I don't know, man.
I don't mind
that's
that
the trajectory of it all.
But okay,
what it all gets to is like,
damn. Put that feeler out there. Like
we got our Earth suits.
Yeah.
We have like we're the culmination of all of our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of their memories and everything about them is in our DNA.
At least in the DNA matrix, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
We got all the files saved.
Yeah.
It's way cooler than the internet.
Yeah. You know what? I was gonna read this funny story, but I'm gonna save it for next time.
Yeah. Cool.
It's because it's a little bit longer, and I want to give it the space it deserves. It's an encounter with like classic gray aliens, but it's a dude from like Mississippi, and he's really good about it. He reminds me of some of like the Montana we did.
Yeah.
You know, just like the descriptions of things and all that. And
yeah.
Just like his dialect is great. Not to like throw any shade. It's all good. It's just good to see this stuff.
Nice.
And also the dude, just a teaser for that though. He had the encounter when he was 19, and then he was like, I think he wrote a book about it when he was like 70 because he was like dying and he needed to get the word out.
Whoa.
So this was not, again, it's not going to be something that he tried to make money off of. It's something that happened to him and
like
he hid.
a diary kind of
thing.
thing.
He needed to get it out. So that's for next time. But Dawson, this Mantoid thing, this whole Alien Wars thing has been really good for me.
Yeah.
It's been making my mind break.
Fucking with my head a little bit.
I got like a book on my table right here, The Ghosts of Denver, Capitol Hill. I got a thing on the history of witchcraft. I have some spooky stuff we might get into. And, let's just say, I think as we get closer, I think now is a good time to get into the spacey side of stuff. Because when we get towards the darkest holidays, this Christmas stuff, there's going to be some darker rituals at play that we're going to have to focus on, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good to stray away from that right now so that we don't break the barrier up.
Well, it's all part of it. It's all tied together.
Yeah. That's what we're learning
just like,
here, isn't it?
You're
right.
ready.
At some point, what's the difference between
priming it up?
Yeah, like something like filling out a void suit or what the hell? Like even that sentence I said,
Yeah, well, that's the thing is the Stephen Greer shit too. Going back to that is like if he's like doing things where they're like summoning UFOs, it's like, well, there's definitely other ways to do that too.
Yes, yeah.
That's like what do you think? What do we think we're doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the same thing.
You're right. Yeah, it's like we're summoning one thing. Yeah, you're also putting the word out to everything else when you're doing that, and
you're opening it up. Yeah, it's like you open your heart and mind up. It's like you gotta be careful what's coming in.
Which that's just like exercise and shit at the same time. Yeah. That's like possession, at the same exact time. So it all folds down again.
Which that's like very real. That's still happening.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Maybe we'll yeah. See, we're
fallen
covering a
angels
good
are out
spectrum
there.
here.
They're still hunting those fallen angels.
Mm-hmm. As of this moment, there's not any current known like widely funded investigations for caverns to the inner Earth. There was one planned in 2020, but it fell through, I guess, from some private company.
Yeah.
That's not to say that
fell through.
That's yeah. That's to say that I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't be allowed to actually do that to any major scale. You probably want to keep that pretty.
Or like you did in
private.
the NDE thing is like, well, all right.
I mean, the minute you get to that cavern,
NDA shit.
A bunch of creatures or people are going to come and say, "You found us." You know, I mean, like
you can't talk about this.
Yeah, now you're going.
This
to
never
the slave
happened.
pits beneath this.
They go, we went to start and then it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's like he's like saying that so his family doesn't get fucking.
It just didn't work.
Yeah. And that's a good night to end it on. Just keep it nice and spooky for this Halloween episode, huh?
Keep your eyes in the skies.
Exclusive. If you like this episode, then you'll like our Patreon. We do. Sometimes I even do extra research for the show for this kind of stuff. I wanted to do a good one. We'll definitely come back with a crazy part 3. I like the in-depth report on specific creatures. We have so many like secret military programs to get into. Black Fleet.
Yeah, Blackfeet.
Blackfish.
Blackfish.
No, all these sound so interesting. I'm like,
man.
Give me more of this. Until then, though.
Damn.
Thanks for checking out the Patreon if you're a member, and if you're not, patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio. Send in your stories. If you've seen a goddamn mantoid, let us know.
Keep your eyes in the sky,
pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. Keep your eyes on the sky. Keep your eyes on the underworld, apparently, too.
Keep your eyes on your feet, too.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes everywhere.
Let's see. Follow us through the link tree. You can get all our socials there. You can also find the Etsy through that. That's pumpkinhillradio.etsy.com. Use code SECRET for 25% off, $25 or more. Use code StarMother at checkout at w.gg for 10% off. That's our caffeine powder supplement. We took some today.
Good
as
shit.
we usually do.
Shouts out Dubby.
Shouts out Dubby. Thanks. That green coffee extract does us good every time. Rate us 5 stars wherever you can. Tell your friends. Again, if you're listening from the Patreon, thank you so much. If you're not, go and check it out because you can sign up for a free tier and you're going to like the stuff that's even there. Then doing that really shows that you love us. So, and Dawson says it every episode. Dawson, what do you say?
Love you.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Love you.
Happy Halloween.
That's cool.